YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel. Man, is it a great day to read articles. There's so much going on right now, and this is this today's date? It's from the future. Because it's in Australia, and they're usually a day ahead, depending on when things get published. But what is happening? I got something going on in Sydney. Now, we're going to go into Sydney specifics now. Very specifics for Sydney and what's happening in the region, okay? Sydney's inner west bears the brunt of the city's steepest annual drop in house prices. Suburbs in the Sydney's inner west have borne the brunt of the city's steepest annual drop in property prices since the global financial crisis. While Sydney's median house price fell by 4.5% year over year, a handful of suburbs in the inner west saw price declines at a double rate, according to the Domino Group data. Petersham was hit the worst hit, with prices falling 15.2%, the greatest decline of any suburbs across Sydney. So what this would do will bring down the benchmark median house price in that region. So when appraisers go out and have to do comparables on foreclosed properties for the banks, they're going to have to use the 15% rule that we talked about in the Trends in the Housing Market video with Steve. If you go back to that video, you could understand what I'm talking about. So this will paint a very big picture on the people behind the scenes that actually really know what's going on. So, Earlwood, Bellam, Annandale, and Russell Lea followed suit, each recording a drop in house prices between 7 and 8%. San Sochi in the south had second largest drop in prices across Sydney, with the median falling 13.9%, 1.25 million. The average, so the falling 13.9% to 1.205 million. The median house price for each of these suburbs sit well above the city's 1.1 million, demonstrating a phenomenal capital growth gains made over the years. The need for a price correction, experts say. I think this reflects the combination of those areas being among the most popular during the boom. They were the key beneficiaries, said Dr. Shane Oliver, AMP Capital's chief economist. That's the investors played a big role in the boom times. Thank you, investors. Investors. Let me reread this to you. The key word here, investors, and the support word, boom. During the boom, the key beneficiaries, Dr. said Shane Oliver is a Capital chief economist, is investors played a bigger role in the boom times. Thank you very much. Foreign money coming onto the shores. Baby boomers taking the equity out of their homes and buying 2-3 other properties and making it nearly impossible for the Australian proper to be able to afford. That's why everyone went west and everyone went to Melbourne, and then Melbourne went out of control. That's where investors played a bigger role in the boom times. Therefore, those areas have been more vulnerable when the market has turned down again. Among the best performing suburbs of the house, let's just go to the graph. Let me get to where I'm trying to say. There it is. Petersham, median price, it's a 1.3, and it's down year over year. There's the year over year right now, 15.2%. Chestwood, wow, median price there is very. No. San Sochi, sorry, 1.2. That's the one we were reading in the article, 13.9% drop. Chestwood, wow, look at the median house price there, 2.2 million, down 11 points. So when you're saying, oh yeah, it's only 11%, look what the house is still worth. No, a lot of people are underwater, because when you go down 11 points on $1 million house, that's 110 large right off the top. That's like one of those mob guys come into your business that no one sees and no one pays attention to, goes to your, opens your safe, skims a little bit of money off the top and walks out. Yeah, that's what's going on here. You guys don't understand. It's a lot. And then you got Hunters Hill, you got Eastwood. Look at all the drops. Double-digit percentages right here. And what happens to that, it actually affects the benchmark price right across the board when you're looking in those areas. And if those areas are attached to each other, that brings down the comparables in the area, and then the comparables have to use the rule of thumb when comparing a property when it's getting foreclosed by the bank. So you got to keep that in mind. It's very important. So Bronte witnessed the biggest house growth in Sydney since the 26%, hitting a new medium of 3.92 million. House prices in Belleneuve Hill rose 16% to 5.42 million, while vasculus valves rose values, rose 12.1%, 4.95 million. So the high range is the strongest at the moment, and that's due to local buyers upgrading in the area and selling agent I don't care. People have doubled their money in the last 5 years or so, which has allowed them to upgrade. Yep, tap into that equity. Fix that house. North Bondi was surprised by the eastern and suburbs, where prices fell 6.2%, bringing the median house price down 2.85 million. Meanwhile, some of the suburbs saw the greatest declines in house prices, also saw some of the strongest price growth in units over the year. We don't know the prices for apartments have surprised a lot of people, and that's just a demographic shift, he said. Yeah, it's called demographic shift. And what's going to happen in a demographic shift? Everybody leaves. Nobody sticks around. It is too expensive. And when people can't afford to stick around, guess what happens? The middle-class people that don't live in these multi-million-dollar homes aren't being taxed as much anymore. And I call it a paper city. Sydney's a paper city. Let me explain why. Because you're going to have cities like Hobart are going to have to start sending money to the capital, which they need in their city to keep their infrastructure going. This is in the future, guys. Because Sydney's paper city doesn't have enough taxing or people being taxed in their city to keep the infrastructure going, and the middle class is not buying. When the middle class can't buy, these suburbs starts to decline, and no one picks up their garbage anymore, and no one puts out their fires. So what happens is it's a spell for disaster. Those homeowners now are seeing the opportunity to buy into the market because prices have come back. I think the Sydney mindset of the unit has changed dramatically. People are seeing the benefits of living in a unit and understanding it's low maintenance. You get the bang for your buck. The idea of owning a block of land has diminished. So in needs of to be put in perspective, we've seen growth all across the areas. In Sydney, a pullback from the market is a part of the property cycle, and it's necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So here it is. So Bronte, year over year, Randalmere, year over year. So look at the huge increases. And what happens with these increases, it sets off a balance. And it kind of creates the illusion that the markets are doing well. But meanwhile, this is not middle class territory. And people in the middle class that are entering this territory to buy the average medium house price of $3.9 million, they're not eating unless they're finding ways to recycle garbage into food, which I don't know how it's working. So that's only for the super elite rich that come in, except maybe for Jamestown and maybe Cabramatta, Fairfield, which looks like, oh, here we go, Lethbridge Park looks like it's a bit performing well. But I could tell you right now that it's very far away from Bronte. So let me know what you guys think. Housing market illusion. I think this is a Sydney housing market illusion. And you're going to have drops in certain regions. And with people moving west of Sydney and everyone heading west, wagons west. It happened in the U.S. when the East Coast, Baltimore and New York, Manhattan, and all those cities, Albany, and all those cities were Minneapolis, were getting crowded. People headed west for opportunity. And that's what's happening right now in Australia. Wagons west in Australia. Let me know what this article means to you guys. Is it creating an illusion? Is it making people feel better that there's some sort of a balance in the market? Or is the poop really going to start hitting the fan? And a lot of those wealthy mansion owners here in Vancouver, when you go up to the mansions up in Vancouver, I think it's Grey Point, and all those mansions are empty. And you have weeds 7 to 12 feet high growing in front of the homes that no one's been taking care of. The home's been properly being looked after is what I'm trying to say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys think? Comment. Thanks for watching.